Let's go. And
Ready?
set, go, action.
Lights,
Okay.
action.
Hey, Don.
Hey,
Hey, listen, I appreciate you coming in today. Did your mom drop you by, or did you come by yourself?
no, I have my license. I just turned 16.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you? Did you do okay on that test?
I failed the parallel parking part, but I still got my license.
Okay. Oh, well, I failed it, and it took me 3 times to get it, so. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm at a little bit of loss. Your mom told me that you were going to be coming by, but she didn't go into a whole bunch of detail, and so I don't know if you just think I'm that nice of a guy, or you came by, you needed to chat a little bit. So, is there something up, or maybe you can fill me in on a little bit of that?
Well, I worked it out with my mom to come because kind of, freaked out the other night. Had kind of words with my dad, and
Okay.
I've never thought about leaving the house or anything, but I thought about leaving the other night.
Did you? Yeah.
And so she and I are pretty close, and so she said that maybe that would be a good thing to come talk to you, and I thought it'd be a good idea too.
Okay. Do you mind, because there's lots of people come in and see me, and I just see you kind of back and forth at church once in a while, so I don't know you all that well. Did she tell you anything about what we'd talk about or what we'd do, or did she know?
No, she just thought it maybe be good to talk to somebody else about it.
Okay.
Because like after I settled down, I didn't really want to go anywhere, but I'm still mad.
Mad? Whatever. Well, do you and your dad get into it a lot, or is this like a brand new thing?
Yeah, we hardly ever, fight or anything. We just talk about the details of what's going on, if I got my grades up, and how football's going, and stuff like that. So we don't ever fight or anything really. I just pretty much keep the rules. He's got a lot of rules.
He's got lots of rules. Well, let me ask you something. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know. It's a big church, so I don't know you guys all that well. So you have to forgive me here. Do you have like brothers and sisters or not?
I have an older brother and sister that are twins. And
Really?
They're 3 years older than me. And my sister was the head cheerleader last year
Really? At high school?
in high school. And my brother was the student body president.
What kind of relationship do they have a pretty good relationship with your dad and mom?
Well, my dad, my older brother, he wants to be just like my dad. I mean, it'd be nothing better than to tell my brother that he's like my dad. And my sister is, like, I guess daddy's little girl or whatever.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask you, if that bugs you, that your brothers, are you like your dad?
No.
I don't get it. I don't hear you telling me that you're like your dad, but does it bug you that your brother's like your dad?
No. I mean, they're both, really, like people call my brother a man, like whatever. Call my dad a man's man, and they call my brother all boy,
Okay.
like when he was growing up. And
So what's that make you?
I don't know.
Yeah. You closer to your mom then?
Yeah, lots closer to my mom, and
Okay.
like we talk about almost anything, and have a hard time. My brother's always critical, he's always picking on me and stuff, and my sister and I gang up against him sometimes.
So you get along pretty well with your sister?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, because we don't have any other choice.
Ah, okay. Against your brother, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, she's nice and everything, but we wouldn't probably even hang out or talk if it wasn't trying to, kind of gang up to stop my
Okay.
brother's stuff.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. If I ask you why you think you and your dad got into it, because you said you usually don't. It's normally just share information back and forth and all that. I mean, what'd you get into it about? What was the thing that you actually got in a fight about?
He caught me in a lie.
Okay.
I was driving my mom's got a Mustang, and I was driving it the other night. I just got my license. It was raining, and it was with this one street that you can splash other cars next to you if you hit it just right. And so I was gunning it, like every time, and muffler got hit, and separated the muffler. So come home, and it's kind of hard to hide that sound when you knock the muffler off.
Yeah. Yeah. And so your dad heard it right away, or did he hear it later?
Well, he heard it, and then he asked me like he didn't know. And then I lied and said I didn't know about it, and then he just, called me a liar and couldn't believe that I was his son and all this stuff about didn't raise a liar. And I mean, I was scared, I'm scared of the guy.
What were you afraid of?
His face turns real red, his veins pop out on his forehead, and he doesn't ever say anything to me really, and then all of a sudden it's all this, played pro football, he's a big guy.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to do. This is your choice. You get to decide whether or not we're going to do this or not, okay? Sometimes it kind of helps people gather their thoughts, and since I don't know you really well, I would very much like to, but I don't want to just jump right into something and start assuming a bunch of stuff. So this is what I like to do. I've got some questions I usually ask people.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but some people, and especially if I don't know somebody very well, it just helps me to kind of know what you're thinking.
Sure.
There's nothing fancy about it. It's not really a real fancy counseling thing or something like that, but it really does help me out a lot. But I want to tell you how it works, okay? And then if it's okay, then we'll go ahead and do it. I'd like to ask you 3 questions. They're not hard questions. You know the answer to these already.
Good.
It's not like a pass or fail test. And I'm going to ask you the questions, and I want you to answer differently. We're going to go like 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. And I want you to just answer differently every time.
Okay.
You can just answer whatever comes to your mind. And the only rules to the thing is you can't con me with your answers. Sometimes you'll ask somebody something, they go, I don't know, or I'll try, or maybe stuff like that.
Sure.
And so you can't do that. And just so you know, in case you forget to tell you, I'll tell you. But I won't yell and scream or anything like that.
Oh, that's good.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, let me, here's the first question. You just, first thing comes to your mind. And of course, you came in here to, your mom asked you to come in, or thought it might be good for you to come in.
Yeah.
Because of what happened between you and your dad. And, you were maybe thinking some about leaving or something. And you said that you really weren't thinking about that after that, right?
Yeah, I'm not still thinking.
You're not still thinking about that. But if I were to ask you, what do you want for you? Just what do you want for you? How would you answer?
I want to be successful.
Okay? What would that look like? If you're successful when you grow up, or now even, what's that look like?
I guess people would like me, and have a wife and kids and have some money and stuff.
Okay. All right. That's good. What's successful look like right now for you?
Well, it's my first year in high school. I'm already starting in football.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
You like football?
Not really.
Okay. All right. All right. Second question. have you ever felt like you haven't been successful at things?
I don't feel like I've ever really been successful.
Okay. Okay. When you don't get to be successful, whatever that is, whether it's now or it's way off in the future or whatever, how does it make you feel when you don't feel like you're successful? When you don't get to be that or do that?
Well, I don't know exactly how I feel, but what happens is he says, that was good, but
Okay.
like the other day, our very first game in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I intercepted a pass with about 30 seconds left
Mm-hmm.
and ran it down to the 5-yard line and got tackled, blew out my ankle, and we scored on the next play and won the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, all right, he's finally going to say, you did well.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him after the game, on crutches, and he said, "You sure were cocky in the end zone."
At that moment, I want you to think back. I know that wasn't any fun, right?
Right.
Okay. At that moment, what did you feel? Like emotions that you might have had, whether or not you told him or not, but just you and me.
Well, I felt really low. Felt like I was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember thinking, I will never do better than this, and it's not enough.
Okay. All right. And it hurt a lot, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. It's a pretty big blow. You mind if I tell you something about me? Is that all right with you?
Sure.
Cool. Well, when I was in, I know a little bit about what that feels like, except it didn't come from my dad. When I was in the 9th grade, I was first base in right field. I was batting .534.
Wow.
Pretty good. And played 3 years all through junior high school. And at the end of my school year in the 9th grade, I went up to the coach and told him I didn't get my letter in the school mail. Coach asked me who I was. Now, we had 4 guys that went all pro from our school, so I can understand it wasn't like I was the brightest. I mean, there were guys batting .725 on my team.
Wow.
So, yeah, they were pretty good, but I tell you what, it hurt a lot. I mean, it really did. If that was coming from your dad, that'd really be a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big
Yeah,
deal.
that's pretty good. Well, let me ask you this, and again, if anywhere along here, me asking you these questions, if you really feel like, hey, look, that's just, I don't want to talk, I don't want to go there. It's your deal, you're in control here, okay?
Okay.
All right. Have you done things in the past to try to feel like you're successful? And if they are, what have you done? Especially maybe with your dad?
Yeah, I mean, I make good grades. I make a B every once in a while, and he's disappointed in that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have a girlfriend, I go to church all the time. I say yes sir, no, no sir all the time.
And what if any benefit has that gained you?
Well, as long as I do that stuff, he's pretty cool.
He's good.
I mean, like I said, it's one of the very few times, like what happened the other night, that's just the first time I ever stood up to him.
Yep. Okay. All right, let's do our questions again, all right?
Okay.
You got to answer differently this time, though.
Okay.
What do you want for you?
I want maybe something that makes that helps people.
Okay, you want to help? Have you ever thought about what that might be?
Well, I preach on Sundays at the nursing home, and they don't care much about what I preach, but they like me to be there, and
Yeah.
I just sit with people and
Okay.
love on them.
Cool. That's good. That's good. Have you had a lot of situations where you felt like you haven't been able to help people?
Or I haven't?
Where you haven't helped people? In other words, when you can't help people, what do you feel like? When you're unable to do that, or maybe you feel like you're not getting it done.
Like I can't watch those commercials anymore with the starving kids and
Uh-huh.
stuff. Because it just kills me, you know. I don't make any money right now, and I would really like to, like one things I would really want to do is like have millions of dollars and be able to give it away.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That'd be really cool.
Okay.
And I get, you know, my friends call me and stuff when they have problems,
Do they?
and I get pretty frustrated when I can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're just dumb. I mean, I tell them some things to do, and they just
Ignore that.
just go get drunk again or something
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
It's pretty stupid.
Yeah. That's pretty frustrating. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You've already told me some of the things that you've done to try to help people. What's some of the things when you're trying to help out some of your friends and that doesn't work? What's some of the things that you've done to try to get them to let you help them?
Well, I tried the kind of shake them up a little bit, you know, and grab them by the shirt and say, why don't you get a clue? But I hurt some other feelings, and that didn't turn out that good.
Okay.
They said, call me something like, you know, preacher boy, and
Uh-huh.
you're not any better than us, and why are you trying?
Yeah. Yowzer. Now that hurt pretty good, wasn't it?
Well, I really am really trying to help them, but I'm not doing a very good job. I guess.
Uh-huh. You ever told your dad about that?
Oh no.
Yeah. Does your mom know?
Yeah, I talked to my mom about almost everything.
Yeah. What'd she say when all that happened?
Well, she says, you know, you still need to love people even if, no matter what they do. She's a neat.
Yeah.
She helps a lot of people.
That's cool. Sounds like a neat lady.
Yeah.
Fine, you're doing great. I'm going to ask you one more time. What do you want for you?
Well, I like a girlfriend, I think.
Okay. Have you had one yet?
No, I mean, I dated some people. I go on dates,
Mm-hmm.
go to dances, go to just single things, you know, but I've never, like, I've had a girlfriend for a couple of weeks and stuff, but I know we're gonna break up because we're probably not gonna get married, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want my feelings hurt either.
Okay.
So I'd rather just be everybody's friend. But I really like, you know, I have friends that have girlfriends that they've had for like 2 years and
Mhm.
stuff, and it looks pretty good.
Oh, when you can't have girlfriends, or when you think you don't get them, I mean, I understand what you say. I never wanted to hurt anybody's feelings either. That's kind of the way I was growing up. A lot of times a lot of my buds would like date 3 or 4 girls at a time,
Mhm.
so I could only like kind of date, even if we weren't serious, I could only go out with one girl at a time,
Yeah, me
because I was
too.
afraid it hurt somebody else's feelings, you know.
Me too.
Well, when you kind of get frustrated about not having a girlfriend, when that doesn't happen, how does that make you feel?
It's unfair.
Unfair?
I mean, I'm an okay guy, and I try to meet people and stuff. Even like I have a lot of friends that are girls, but they just, like, I was going out with this one girl and hanging around her some, and I bought her some gifts and went on some dates, and I thought we were kind of, you know, and then I found out she's been kissing this guy I play football with, and he's a really good looking guy.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm trying to be a good friend to you and try to date you, and we never kiss, but you'll kiss this guy that you don't even know at a party just because he's good looking.
Uh-huh. It must have felt pretty bad.
Well, I mean, I'm a really nice guy. I don't think I'm that good looking or anything, but I'm nice to girls.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not a jerk.
Let me ask you this: what have you done so far to try to get a girlfriend? I know you're nice to him.
Well, like somebody that I really like, I'll ask them to go to dinner or usually a movie. We have friends that go to stuff. Maybe go to church. There's some nice girls that go to my church and stuff. And but I'm pretty scared about the whole be serious thing because I'm just 16 and I probably won't get married until I get out of college, and so
Right.
I can't see dating somebody for 10 years.
Yeah. So you're just trying to navigate the whole thing and not hurt anybody's feelings, right?
Yeah, maybe I would just like, something more than friendship, but not big, heavy, following stuff.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I got another question for you. You've talked about three things that you've wanted right now, okay? You talked about being successful, and one being able to help people, and the third was girlfriend. Of those three, do they have a particular order that they're important to you? They don't have to. I'm just wondering.
Well, I can wait on the girlfriend until I'm older, probably, and the success stuff. I would like to do that to get my dad off my back.
Okay.
But like the more important thing to me would be to continue to be helpful to people.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this: Have you ever considered talking with your dad at all about what you feel about this stuff? No.
That's what happened the other night.
And that's when you talked to him. Did your dad know your hair, or did your mom slide your hair on the side?
I doubt if he knows. He won't care. I mean, he won't be mad or anything. He doesn't. He said something to my mom about he doesn't understand counseling. Doesn't see what's the deal about counseling. Why would we go? But like the other night, I was just trying to talk to him, but he thought I was being disrespectful.
Was your mom there?
Yeah, and she was pretty upset.
At your dad, or at you, or both of you?
She was mad that we were fighting. We don't fight in our house. So.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Would it be wrong for me to say that probably a really important thing for you right now? I understand you and your dad aren't at each other's throats all the time. But would it be fair for me to say that being able to keep your dad happy, or more specifically, him being proud of you, or him thinking that your success is a pretty high priority to you? That's important to you?
I mean, I'm real good at football, but I don't like it that much. He was a pro football player and a college coach, and so I think I feel a lot of pressure to do that because it'll make him happy. And he's already talking to coaches that he knows and stuff.
About you?
If I could play in college, I wouldn't have to pay for school. So I know that'd make him happy because money's a big deal to him.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a fourth question here for a second. There's no pressure at all. I'm not going to make you do anything. It's not what we're here for today. I just kind of I told your mom when she gave me a shout that I just wanted to kind of find out what was going on with you, and if it was okay with you. You and I'd talk one time, and if you wanted to come back, that'd be fine. I'd love to get together with you again. But if I were to ask you, let's just pick one of these things right now, okay? I got news for you. You know what I think about you? I think at least one of the things is probably going to be true, no matter what. You're going to figure out a way to help people. Because you really do care about people, and even though it hurts you a lot and you get frustrated with them when they do stupid stuff, even when you warn them, that's one thing I'm picking up from you right away, is you really like helping people.
Yeah.
You remind me a lot of me when I was your age. So, although I realize that's something you really want, I don't think anybody's going to keep you from that. One way or another, you're going to figure out how to do that. That's a really cool thing. But one of the things I think is probably real important is, you know how, you may not love this example, but it's the only one I can think of. You know how when you get one of those zits on your chin, you know, you can either go get a knife and cut the thing, or sooner or later you leave it and all of a sudden it just pops out all over the place. Well, this thing with your dad, it's kind of like big zit. Now that may sound weird to you, but I mean, you just think about it. You know, you guys just go along, and you know, would you say you know pretty much how to keep your dad happy?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you're 16, and have you kind of noticed? I mean, this is the way it was for me when I was 16. At about 16, my dad and I started having some troubles. I know you'd never guess it now, but I used to be really thin, and I had really long hair. And my dad and I fought about that my hair was long and I wore ragged blue jeans. And we fought all the time. It started when I was about 16. Well, I mean, looking back, a lot of it I was just plain hard to get along with. I mean, and that's not you, but I was pretty hard to get along with. But some of the stuff we fought over, you know, I look back now and I started, you know, kind of wanting to make decisions for myself and sort of set some own directions for my own life. And here's what I think might happen with you and your dad, and I can be wrong. If it doesn't happen, then fine. But you used the word frustrated about 6 or 7 times just in this few minutes we've been talking. And when people get frustrated, every once in a while they just blow. And I can already tell by talking with you, you don't like blowing.
No.
You don't like things being unresolved.
Right.
You really would like to have some, you know, you just, if you tell me if this is wrong, but you seem like one of those guys, you just like for everybody to get along and to get on and support each other and care about each other, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm not trying to beat up on your dad, and I'm not trying to say everything about your dad's bad, but would you probably agree with me that at least from your perspective, you're at least feeling like there's some things that you guys really have some differences of opinion about and some conflicts about, right?
Oh,
Yeah, a lot more than he probably knows. And again, I'm not trying to beat up your dad, so don't think I'm, you know, trying to be mean to your dad.
Yeah.
But I'm a little concerned about that you guys might have more of these explosions. And sometimes when stuff's just left not settled, it can get more and more and more frustrating. And what I'd hate to see happen is for you and your dad to just continually have these things with it never being addressed. And so I don't have any big plan for right now, but I would like to ask you something. Okay? In relationship to your dad, if I were to ask you, because you're the one's feeling frustrated about it, and you're the one that didn't, you know, you could have given your mom a lot of trouble about coming by to see me today, because I'm just some old pastor, you know. But you came in and talked to me. I wonder if I were to say to you, what do you think would be the next good thing for you to do in a relationship to your dad? What do you think you should do next in relationship to this whole deal with your dad? Just your opinion. What would be a good step for you?
I guess it's not getting in trouble.
Okay. Well, there's an option.
I'm sure, I mean, like, I wasn't trying to do something
Mm-hmm.
the other night. I was just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure something like that's going to happen again, but
Yep.
that's what I'm worried about. Is I don't think I know what to do is to try to stay out of trouble, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried that,
You won't be perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I tell you what, let me ask you, when you think of, and I don't know if you've ever thought about this before, so this may be kind of a weird question, but when you think of trying to be perfect all the time, having fun but don't have so much fun that you mess something up, how does that make you feel inside?
Well, I think that's what he wants.
Well, I know that's what he wants. How does it make you feel when you feel like you got to do that?
It's impossible.
All right? It's impossible.
That's why I was thinking about leaving. I was thinking,
Yeah.
there's no way to make you happy.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not playing this game anymore. And,
Okay.
you know, I'd really like to quit.
Okay.
And,
All right, well, let me ask you this. Can you think of any other possible things you could do? So one would be, just be perfect. Don't hope you can maintain that. Another one would be what you thought about the other night, which is just leave and quit. Well, do you mind if I ask you why you didn't leave?
Mom got me out of it basically, and my dad went to bed. I mean, I could hear him snoring. It wasn't like it bothered him.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and I stayed up talking, and I didn't really know where I would go or what I would do. I don't have any money, or I wouldn't want to ask anybody to, you know, he would be really freaked out if I had left.
Good.
So I wanted to, but I didn't know how to really.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you being honest with me about that. I mean, I can see where but you could feel pretty trapped like that, couldn't you? Well, let me ask you, can you think of any other possible solutions, things that might be a good step right now for you in relationship to this thing with your dad?
I mean, the obvious thing that he wants is for me to tell him the truth.
Yeah.
And, but if you could have seen him, you would have lied too.
Yeah. Okay. And so would it be fair for me to say, and I know I keep telling you I'm not trying to beat up your dad, but I want you to know I really respect you and I appreciate you coming in here. And I don't know your dad very well, so I don't want to just assume a bunch of stuff about him. Obviously, I'm talking to one guy here, but if I were to tell you that it makes sense to me that it's kind of hard to tell somebody the truth when you're not sure if they're going to come totally unglued. I don't agree with telling lies, but you can understand, I can understand how you'd feel.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Well, are there any other possible solutions you could think of? Whether or not you think you can do them or not. In other words, is there something you can do in relationship to your dad to try to get rid of some of this situation?
I mean, sometimes if my mom gets there first, she can take care of it before he has to find out about it or something. But it's kind of what I was hoping, you know, you could tell me, because I don't have a clue.
All right, well, I tell you what I'm going to do. There's a couple things I want to do with the rest of our time we have today. I'm not going to, right now, what we're talking about, this is you and me, all right? When you leave today, I'm not going to call up your mom and tell her a bunch of stuff, and I'm not going to call up your dad, but I do want you to think about something, okay? Now, just like with your buds, you've probably had your buds be mad at each other before, and one of them will tell you something, and you go, oh, yeah, man, that's really bad, you know, and you get all riled up about it, and then the other bud that he was talking about comes and tells you the other side of the story, you know?
Yeah.
And you find out, maybe it wasn't exactly what, he was mad, you know, we understand, people get mad and say things. Well, you know, you're a smart kid. You know that I'm hearing what you're telling me, and I believe you. It's not that I don't believe you, but you know, this is certainly one side of the story. But even with that being said, I want to tell you something. There's a way that good relationships work. And although I'm not for people lying, part of my job, if I'm your friend, for instance, if every time you come to tell me the truth, I bite your head off, you'd think more than twice about lying to me about something if you knew it was going to bite your head off. And that's not healthy for anybody. And one of the things that I want you to think about is if there might be some way, and this is just kind of your assignment. If you decide to come back next week, we'll talk about when you come back next week. I'm not done yet, but one of the things I want you to think about is if there's a possibility that you'd be willing to come up with a solution to where we could perhaps have a conversation with your dad about some of the things that you're feeling.
Like me and you talk to him?
Yeah, like you and me talk to him. It's not a have to. You don't even have to give me an answer. I just want you to think about that, okay?
Okay.
Now, I don't have to be in on it. I mean, one of the things we could do is talk about how you could talk to him about it. But I'm just telling you, I might be willing to be available to that. And so you think about that part.
Well, I can tell you how it would go if it's just me and him.
Okay? And how would it go?
If I got up enough courage to talk to him and tell him what was going on with me,
Right?
he would listen and he'd say, okay.
Okay.
And that's his one-word answer, which means so.
Okay. That's fair enough. So, but you'll think about that, and if we get back together next week, if I haven't scared you half to death, okay?
Well, I mean, I'll think about it.
Okay.
I don't know if he would even come, and I would be pretty scared about what he would do, not while we were here, but
Well,
later.
after you went home, right? Okay. All right. And that's kind of the second thing I want to talk to you about. One of the things that's my heart, what I like to do, I'm kind of like you. I like helping people. So I'm not looking for more to do, but I don't like seeing you hurting. And you're hurting right now. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm more than willing to help you either walk through this yourself or walk through it with you, with your dad, if that's something you really want to do. But I got news, and you already know that would be very, very hard to accomplish. But that's one thing we could think about. But the second part of it is this. You've been very honest with me about the things that you want in life and about where you'd like to go and some of your feelings when you don't get those things. And let's say, for instance, that you and I did talk to your dad, and it all went great when we were all in the office together and having a conversation. And maybe for a week or two or three or four, he was kind of, oh no, the pastor talked to me, kind of a thing. And so maybe he was on his best behavior. And I'm not assuming your dad would, but let's just say he kind of went back to the same old way. I don't live at your house, right?
Right.
So I don't have to live with you living with that, right?
Right.
Well, one of my concerns would be is I want to make sure that you know how to deal with that. Because right now, one of my concerns is if I were to take my fist and hit you a couple of times, you'd end up bruised, and it'd hurt a lot, and your cheek would be sore, and you might have a busted tooth. Well, in a way, when someone uses these kind of words to us, and some of the phrases you told me about, it does some wounding on the inside of us. And we're not going to talk a long time about it today, but Christ has the ability to deal with some of those really deep hurts on the inside. He can really help us with that in a real practical way. And my concern is, you know a lot about Jesus. You've been in church around here for a long time, but I'm not real sure you know how to let Christ help you with some of those hurts. That's the first thing. The second thing is if this goes on for a long time, you need some very special help from Christ in a very particular way to have Him help you grow up to where you can be a strong, independent young man that I know you already want to be, because you're planning on being a helper of people. And I want to make sure you get there. And there's some things that I think that I could talk with you about and show you about how Christ can be a part of your life. Because you know and I know I can't guarantee what your dad's going to do, right? Right. So I'm more than happy to help with, if you choose it, for me to try to help you out with this thing with your dad. But here's the thing about it is I need you to understand whether or not your dad gets it right or not, there's some pretty incredible things that Christ has the ability to help you to do. And I'd really like a chance to show that to you.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you?
Yeah, I'd like that. Can we just leave him out of it and us talk about that stuff?
Well, yeah, we can. Yeah, we could. But I want you to think about that for this next week. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's stop for just a second. All right, first of all, Don was answering. I remind you that Don was answering in line with what would have been typical for him at that point in his life. You got it? Okay, now let me ask you the first question. What did you not like that you saw me do? Anything you didn't like? You thought, oh, I thought that was goofy, or I didn't like that, or it didn't play well for me. You can say whatever you want to. It doesn't matter. Anything weirded you out, or you wondered, okay, was there anything you wondered why I said it or did it?
I think that you maybe, it sounded like you put a lot of words to some things.
Okay,
A lot more words than I would.
okay, that's fine. All right, what else? And can you think of a specific? If you do, that would be fine. But
When you were telling him about asking him the 3 questions, and then you took about 3 different ways of saying the same thing,
Gotcha.
and I think that Don was willing to go with you on the first try.
sure, okay, good point. All right, anything else that weirded you out, or you didn't like, or you don't think it worked with the student, or anything at all? Now's not the time to be bashful, people.
The only thing I thought of was that when you were telling me the story about your long hair, that I would not have related to that at all
Yeah.
because my dad wouldn't allow.
Yep,
You
all right.
know? And so but it was not like, I mean, it was the same dad
Sure.
and the same rule, but I was complying, trying to get him to do it, and you were not trying to get your own.
Good point.
So I'm on a completely different track.
Sure. Okay, so he might have perceived that I didn't have a clue about what he was talking about. Okay? What else? Anything else? All right, now let's go. What did you like about what you heard? I'm not looking for a compliment. I'm asking you to observe with me. What did you like about what you heard from the questioning?
Yeah, you walked right alongside him and got real comfortable so that he knew you were on his side.
All right? All right?
I liked you were constantly checking his non-verbals, except one time.
Okay. All right. One of the difficult things, and this is just for, I'm telling you, me, I have a horrible memory. Horrible memory. And so I really do have to jot down a lot of stuff, and I have a hard time watching nonverbals and keeping track of stuff. Very difficult for me. Did you hear him balking on the end about talking with his dad? Okay, all right. Now, this is one of the things that you want to recognize, and I'm going to show you what I put on the sheet there in a second. One of the things you got to recognize is that my goal is I want him to keep moving with me. He may or may not agree to have me talk with his dad, or for him to talk with his dad somewhere along the way. Yes.
When you were asking him to think about talking to his dad, I noticed Don he was sitting there like this, and then he went like right back like that, and then you went like this. Did you do that intentionally?
No, my back's hurting.
To me, it was like, he's not with me here, I'm trying to get him to, you know.
No. Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. You have brilliant. All right. All right.
Let me say one thing.
Oh,
that
sure.
Probably the most powerful thing for me was when you said, I can tell that you're going to want to help people.
Yeah.
And that you're going to do that.
Mhm.
And I had some people when I was in high school say those things to me. And I know you're in a lot of turmoil right now, but I know you, Don, and you're going to be somebody that helps a lot of people. And that really, so you picking up on that is just another, that was good. That was powerful. Yeah.
Okay, what I want to do is just I want to quickly look at the questions. Now, let me tell you what didn't happen with the questions this time. So it's not always a perfect world. Generally speaking, we go from very general to a lot more specific things. Now, all 3 his were very legitimate ones. A lot of times with students, you'll have them come up with very general, very non-specific. and then go a lot deeper from after that, mostly because you're forcing them to, all right? But Don was he was a very compliant person. Could that possibly be because he's a feeler? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's nonverbal signs again. All right. Do you understand what we were looking for as we went through? It's nothing complicated. Well, what I want to ask you is what kind of, first of all, I just told you what he was, and he told you what he was. But what signs on the 3 questions as he answered them might have given you a clue that you're dealing with some mix of a feeler here.
Helping people.
Okay, helping people.
For other people.
Okay, what else? Huh?
People would like it.
People
Listen to what he's agonizing about with the girlfriend thing.
Yeah.
He wants a girlfriend, but he's not willing to risk hurting somebody's feelings
Right.
to be able to have one.
Right.
Or at least he's going to be very cautious about that. What else might have clued me in that he was a feeler?
It all revolves around relationships.
Do what now?
It all revolves around relationships.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Yeah, the whole thing's revolving around relationships. When he's talking about his mom, yes.
He doesn't like seeing those things, the ad on TV, the ad on TV kills them.
Yeah. I mean, he just, the whole everything about him says sensitivity, caring, relationships, and all that. We haven't given him a personality test yet, right? But we got a pretty good idea where he's headed. Yes. What else?
A lot of friends who are girls.
Do what now?
A lot of friends who are girls.
A lot of friends who are girls.
He kind of threw me off a little bit, though. He wanted to make millions and give it away.
Oh.
And then he also didn't really like some of the things that his friends had complained about.
Uh-huh. Well, a couple of things. First of all, his millions to give away. What's his definition of success? Okay, helping people is one, but he's got a dual definition.
People would
People
like
like him.
Huh?
it. People like it.
Okay, well, that's the whole relationship. What does he understand success is according to Dad? Hmm?
Making a lot of money.
What? Success meaning big name, probably you could assume big money, well known, and you're the top dog. And by the way, you do all that whether or not you like it or not. Right? Right. So he's got a dual, just like Mike said, I had a dual personality or a dual identity.
Yeah.
He's going to try to maintain one for Dad, and then one for the person he really is. What's that going to do to a kid?
Yeah. Very much.
Conflict, incredible conflict. Not only that, excuse me. Okay, if I got to do the millions, at least I'll give it all away. So he's going to be battling internally. Okay. Anything else that would help you understand what he is from a personality standpoint or a unique self standpoint?
What is a friendly boy?
Come again?
Friendly boy.
Yep. Yep. And somebody mentioned something about the friends, and he didn't like their. Well, what he did, if you didn't hear, he was basically saying he struggled with the fact that he had tried to help his friends, and they wouldn't buy it. And then he talked to them about it, and then of course he's getting in conflict because now they don't like, I guess, as I took it, what they were. He's a preacher guy, and so on and so forth.
The fact that he talked to his mom all the time, he also shows a sensitive side.
Okay.
He would
All right.
open up to her.
Now name is at least as many hurts as you can off of this.
Rejection.
Okay, give me some specific ones. So rejections one.
Football.
Huh?
The football deal.
Okay, the whole deal that happened with his dad and the football.
Denial of feelings.
Huh?
Denial of his feelings.
Okay.
That
could be.
Girlfriend kissed somebody else.
Yeah, girlfriend kissing somebody else.
Grade's not good enough.
Grade's not good enough, even though he gets an occasional B.
Friends,
Huh?
friends.
Yeah, the whole friends thing. Pours his life into him, and then they get mad at him because he challenges them a bit about it. Anything else?
Do you feel your lack of confidence?
Huh? Yeah, and why is that there?
It's not there, but I've got to be here. You said it at the end that
Okay.
there was one of he wanted confidence,
Okay.
and the other one was to tackle Dad with conflict, and he wanted you to.
Okay.
And then he wanted to back out. Of that
Yep,
as well.
yeah, he wasn't quite ready for that necessarily, but he did want to do the other. Okay? Anything else you'd say as far as the dad thing, or any other help? Not the dad thing, but any more other hurts?
Caught in a lie, I can't believe you're my son.
Okay, yeah. Just the whole event that surrounded the big hoopla that brought him in here.
Well, he's busy people pleasing and not getting accepted.
Okay. All right. All right, now, I want to point out to you, all we did was ask 3 questions. I probably wouldn't necessarily go back unless I just really saw that there were some things, unless I ran into something that I thought I was seeing something else going on. I've got enough information from a history standpoint. I may or may not do a unique self-test on him. I may or may not try to, I'm guessing, but I'm guessing I'm not going to get a whole bunch more history that would reflect a whole lot more besides this, right? Okay? So I've got the 2 main ingredients that I want. Now let's see how well you've been listening with the student stuff in the morning, and then we're going to close off with it. What are some issues that you think? So let's say that he says, I'm not ready to do that dad thing right now. That's just too much, even with you. I don't want to pay the price it's going to come, which he could have easily said, right? So he says he's going to live in the situation right now. Whether or not I think that is the wisest thing or not the wisest thing, or the most spiritual thing to do, or the abiding thing to do or not. Okay? It might be that he's going to be living with that for a while, right? Okay, so now I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to try to track him through to trust Christ to help him live with a dad that is not so much verbally abusive, except when he doesn't perform correctly. It's more of what he withdraws, the unspoken thing, the emotional kinds of things. And I'm using abusive in a very general term here, okay? So you tell me, from what you've gotten so far, we haven't done everything yet, what might be, just jumping ahead, as we've been taking our student through in the mornings, what are some of the things that you think, let's say let's say I bring him back in, we find out a little bit, he's thinking about whether or not, let's say he comes back in and says, I do not want to do the dad thing. I don't want you to do it, I don't want to do it, we're not going to do it. All right, so what did I tell him I wanted him to do that I thought Christ could really help him with that in some practical ways? So now you help me out. Let's assume I start going through some basic things. We're going to go through exactly like we've talked about. I'm going to answer 3 questions for him and so on and so forth. Excuse me. All the way I'm getting more information. What might be some points of challenge or encouragement I might give him with some of the things that we've talked about? Do you understand the question I'm asking? Yeah. Think of your diagrams, in other words, is what I'm asking you. What might be some things I might try to help him with? Because I don't have time to demonstrate that to you tonight.
His concept of God.
Okay, now, okay, how might that be important for him?
Because he's picturing it like his dad. And
Okay.
He can't ever please him.
Okay.
There's always something kicking up a notch.
Okay. All right, and so I might spend some time talking with him about what he feels about God, give him a God test, and of course we're going to track him through there. We'll come back to that in just a second. What else? Yes?
Would it be appropriate to talk about the drunk driver and then go into the unholy trinity and show how, because you talked about healing his hurts,
Mm-hmm.
and showing how to do that, so doing all of that.
Very good. Very good. So I'm going to have a conversation with a 16-year-old, and I can have a conversation with a 16-year-old. I might rather than go through every bit of the circuit, not the circuit, but the diagrams, I might jump ahead to some things and demonstrate how is it Christ heals up when I have hurts on the inside. And spend some time just talking about some of those kinds of things in line with the diagrams. So that would be a very appropriate thing, yes?
I would go and do some unique self stuff. I would explain to him about his feeler.
Okay.
I talk to him, I lift him up so that, and make him understand that that was okay, that that's fine that he's done these sort of things because it's normal for him and blah, blah, blah.
And excellent. And how people would misunderstand a feeler? He already told you the fact that I said that it looked like he was really going to be doing big things was a big deal for him. And so you know if he's a feeler, and you're right, that a lot of words of affirmation are going to really encourage him. So that's a very excellent thing to do. one of the things that I would do is the 4 circles we have, what a desired impression, was, event, I would demonstrate to him, and this is sort of a sideway way of demonstrating to him. He doesn't have to change his behavior right this second, but I would like to show him how he's caught in the trap. Now, he already feels trapped. We already know that. He feels like he's caught in a trap with his dad. But to demonstrate to him what happens with our anger, and there's lots of different ways he uses, he takes care of his anger, and that he copes, and he does all that stuff. But I just want him to, and the only purpose would be, I want to be careful since he's a feeler, I'm not going to beat him up with it, but I can demonstrate to him the reaction kinds of things that are happening. Might be nice for him to know, I probably, if I was dealing with the feeler, I'd also probably like to discover some of the other things he's doing to invest in other people all along the way, because some of the things that we tell people are pretty candid, and they add a lot of reality to their life, and it's very difficult for a 16-year-old. I mean, he gets hammered all the time about him not getting it right, so I'm going to be real careful how I let him process that information. All right, anything else from what you've gotten so far and from a diagram standpoint? Anybody? All right, that's probably a good start. Those are some really excellent things. This is what I want you to see. We give you a format to go through with the diagrams, but for instance, whoever brought up the God concept and trusting God for something, if I were talking to him about that, one of the things that I would discuss with him is a point in my life experience where excuse me, I was feeling an incredible amount of guilt because I was not being the Christian I thought I ought to be. Now, could he relate to that? Oh, yeah. And how I just couldn't buy that God was going to forgive me for the thing that I did. And it was when I was 17 years old, my best friend, I rode in the car with him for a year and a half, and I never said anything to him about Christ, and he got killed in a car accident. And I totally felt like I was responsible. I guarantee you this kid could identify with that. And I would tell him I was really struggling with whether or not God could do anything with that, and how I struggled with my faith. Well, somehow I'm going to have to, if I'm going to talk about his God concept and what he's going to trust God for, he needs to know he's in this with somebody else that's struggled with their relationship with God before. So that's one part. Here's another thing, and this is for later on, because see, we're assuming he didn't want to talk to his dad. At some point down the road, we haven't done this yet, but I'm going to be talking to him about what it means to deny himself and take up the cross. And I won't be hammering him with that on the front end. But one thing that he may have to trust God for is a confrontation with his dad later on down the road. And so you need to understand that we're building towards that. So can you see all of a sudden now I'm in a discipleship relationship with this guy? Okay? Any other quick questions?
Hey, Tim.
Yes?
I wish I'd known you when I was 16.
Yeah, well, I wish. But here's the thing about it is I think any person in this room, honestly, that God calls could easily sit with the person and just track through them with this if they would be genuine. And then we just want to illustrate to you about how you can do some of those things. Just don't get tied into just the straight through the routine, especially when you're dealing with the student. If you got a student that's tracking with you, that's great. But I really appreciate your input. Appreciate Don's shared. I don't want anybody seeing all the stuff I was in when I was a teenager. Thanks, guys. All right, you can have the rest of the night off.